Hello then folks, welcome back to the Look Back midweek edition. Oh yeah, that's right, there's lots of Premier League games this week and we're going to talk about all of them. And the big point of today's video, we've got 20 questions for fans of those teams or any football fan really to give their opinion on. Basically, there's things I need to know from each club. So get a pen and paper ready, get your brain in gear, and let's kick things off with the first game of the week. So we kick things off with Palace versus Brighton. I think I said pre-game, this had draw written all over it. It did have a draw. It was a draw. There was a system change for Palace that I found really interesting. At least he came in for AU on the right-hand side. They're switching between a 3-4-3 and sort of a 5-2-3 system. It's sort of a combination of the two that we've seen them use against City and Liverpool. And then a 4-3-3 and a 4-1-4-1 where the wingers sit slightly deeper, basically. Against some of the teams they basically figure they've got an equal ability level against. I don't know what they think the best system is. Now, if Vieira's confident, then fair enough, you can kind of afford to do this. It's an okay point against a pretty good Brentford side this season. Zaha gets himself another goal. They were saying early in the season he was in form. He wasn't. He is now, though. We can finally start saying he is in form. But my question for Palace fans is, what is the best system? Or are you quite happy with Vieira being this pragmatic? Over on the Brentford side, it's a pretty good performance again. Like you're forcing Palace to do far more defending. It's a theme of the way Brentford play. It's high percentage football. Brentford love analytics and stats, right? It's the way they sign their players and they play in a similar way to that. They do this against a lot of teams as well. Like the width is just really impressive. They get a lot of crosses in, danger areas. Like a lot of their shots are very close in towards the goal, whether that be headers or just general shooting. It's just really impressive the way they're able to assert themselves in Premier League games like it's nothing, right? Tony is so much more involved in build-up play compared to Mateta for Palace, who is just sort of the guys that finish it off, right? They are way more willing to have the ball and stretch teams by doing that, whereas, you know, Palace are sort of the reverse of that. They're looking to break and find gaps in counter-attacking situations. It's wicked. Like, I really like how Brentford play. Like, Brighton are getting a lot of love, Fulham, but Brentford, because they're sort of second season syndrome, they're doing all right this year. And it's sort of my question to Brentford fans is, what's the goal for this year? Is it just survival, or do Brentford fans want a little bit more? 11th right now, is that where you want to be? But statistically, very even game, like hilariously even, very well matched sides. Both will survive in this season, you would assume. But yeah, a decent point. Momentum carrying point. That's what I'd go with. Fulham 2, Brighton 1. Well, who saw this coming? I thought it'd be a draw. I said on my Twitch stream before this that it would probably be a draw. I just feel like Fulham at home have looked really dangerous. Brighton occasionally become a little bit unstuck for ideas, and we'll come to them in just a minute. We'll start with Fulham. Another difficult game for Andreas Pereira. I started off this season saying, like, if you can get performances out of him, then don't worry. Everything is going to be fine. They didn't in this game at all. But Mitrovic is in the form of his life right now. You've got to say it. 7 aerial wins, 5 successful dribbles, 2 key passes, 2 tackles, wins a couple of fouls as well as getting a goal. Like, you don't have to worry about what else is going on when your key man is performing like that. That is phenomenal, by the way. Those stats I've just read off there are so good. Like, for long periods of the game, they're having to do a lot of defending, right? Brighton like to keep the ball, they like to shift their opponents across. Fulham dealt with it really well. Like, you've got to say, only a penalty gets by them. Yeah, they get a little bit fortunate with the Lewis Dunk home goal, but still, you've got to make those chances happen, and they did. And again, a really great win for them. 8th in the league. Like, dream. This is a dream for Fulham fans right now. I remember what happened last time they were in this division. This is wonderful. How much would you want from Mitrovic right now? Had a bid come in on deadline day, how much would it have had to be, and why is it 100 million? Unbelievable. For Brighton, this is fascinating. McAllister played a fascinating position for Brighton, almost as like a roaming shadow striker, but from a defensive midfield. I'm trying to use Football Manager terminology. Midfield position, and just basically has a free role to do whatever he likes. His heat map is bizarre. I'll bring it up on screen now. Just sort of everywhere, really. They changed things up though. They didn't play with a striker from the start. They played with these 3 midfielders, and McAllister, even from this deeper role, was sort of the focal point at times as well. It was odd. Didn't really work, it has to be said. Welbeck came on, and yeah, I was gutted really because I wanted to see him versus Mitrovic for the whole game. 2 strikers I've sort of been raving about this season. We didn't get to, if anything, Potter's annoyed me just with that alone. But yeah, they changed it up, took a central midfielder off, brought on Danny Welbeck. It wasn't enough though. Fulham held on, again defended brilliantly. My question for Brighton fans, and everyone has been extremely complimentary of Graham Potter, no more so than me. But did Potter just get this wrong? Is this the first misstep this season for him? Let me know. Comment section, Brighton fans, let me know. I will say, with these questions, identify yourself before you leave a comment, just so I know where you're coming from. Southampton 2, Chelsea 1. What are they doing? Anyway, let's start with the positives. After a really good performance against Manchester United, Southampton come again with another good performance. They probably played as well as they did in the United game, but this time get the rewards. It kicks things off with a Sterling goal, though. Lovely move from Havertz and Mount to find it into Sterling, who gets a little bit lucky with the defending, maybe from Southampton, could have been better, and finishes it off. He's the one Chelsea player who comes out of this season with any credit so far, so well done to him. Lavia, really good strike from the edge of the box. Chelsea decided we won't need to mark it. Oh, we should have marked him. Oh, damn. And then Adam Armstrong with a really smart finish. Perraud with a really nice run forward, sort of drilled it into Adam Armstrong. It's a brilliant first touch, underrated first touch, and an even better finish. Gives them the lead, and the most satisfying thing for Southampton fans is it's so deserved. Like, it could have been more. You had Chelsea hanging on towards the end of the season, towards the end of the game, sorry, towards the end of the season. Well, I really have jumped ahead there. And Southampton, they look dynamic, they look energetic, they look really good. There are so many sides I can say this about this season, right? You've got Brentford, you've got Fulham, you've got Brighton doing the similar things. And Southampton, a team that I predicted to struggle this year. A lot of question marks over their signings, a lot of unknowns over their signings, to be honest, and they've performed really well. On the flip side of that, I'm going to make this sound like, and Chelsea fans, my question is it as simple as you just haven't got a striker? Show the heat map from the game. What is that? I don't know. It's like a reverse Pac-Man. Anyway, that's arguably the issue for Chelsea, is they've got no striker, no focal point. Again, Sterling gets the goal, but it's a case of Chelsea constantly looking for that. And they have the ball a lot. Like, they have possession all the time. It is pointless possession because you don't look that threatening. It's easy to defend against. You're not really, in a sense, you didn't really neutralise Southampton in the ways that you would have wanted to, in the same way they did against Spurs. I don't know if it just means that the forward line have got to be a bit more aggressive and force things to happen a little bit more and demand the ball a little bit more. I'm not going to talk too much about transfers in this video because I'm saving it for another one. But Aubameyang might and probably should fix this. Like, I think he's the perfect kind of player for Chelsea. We'll go into that in a future video. He might be the solution. But the interesting thing for me is you've only bought one. And what happens if he disappears? Do you go back to this? Because this is not that good. Tuchel under pressure early, I think. Like 10th right now. And it was easy for Southampton. Easy. They worked hard. Well done to Ralph, who smiled, by the way. Love that. Leeds 1, Everton 1. And in a way, it's good for Everton, but that's 5 games now and no wins for Frank Lampard. Anthony Gordon is just scoring now after saying he's not the striker. Didn't get his £60 million move to Chelsea. That can't have been real, realistically, can it? It's a lovely ball from Iwobi, by the way, one of the stars of the Everton side this season. I think that's where my question comes in. Everton, who's been your best, Everton fans, who's been your best player this season? Is it Alex Iwobi, or is there someone I'm missing that deserves a little bit more credit? But the ball to Gordon's really, really good. Great run from him. Really nice finish as well, it must be said. And they probably felt like this was going to be their weekend or their week. Why do midweek games? It's very confusing. Not to be, though, as... is it Sinistera? I'm trying to get that right. I'm having to read it. It's a really, really nice finish. Pickford doesn't even dive, which always looks a bit jarring, especially in like the Premier League, where the goalkeeper decides, that's just too good for me. You're being paid. Just try, make it look better by diving. Do you know what I mean? That should actually be a rule for all goalkeepers. You have to dive. Part of the rules. 7th for Leeds, though, right? Only 1 defeat so far, 2 wins, 2 draws. It's pretty good. What are the general impressions of Jesse Marsch right now? Are Leeds fans on board? They were in love with Bielsa. How can they not be? What are the general impressions of Jesse Marsch? Is he just... I've been to Yorkshire. My mother's from Yorkshire, from Leeds, actually, so I've got some Leeds blood in me. They're quite a jovial bunch, Leeds, but having an American there just to give it a bit more, is it a bit much, or do you love it? I hope you like it. He's doing well. Give him credit. Let me know your thoughts, Leeds fans. I want to know. I can use all of this data for the future. Again, if you're enjoying the video, make sure you are subscribing to these videos and are liking all the videos. If we can aim for 1,000 likes, it's a big ask, but I'm going to try and push for 1,000 likes on these look back videos. So if you are doing so, let's make our ratios look funny. Let's give it a go. All right, next up then, it was the next day. It was on to the Wednesday, and it was Arsenal versus Aston Villa. The Invincibles are back. I called one of my videos, can Arsenal go invincible? So far, so good. Five games, 5 wins. We have to reserve judgment a little bit. They play United next. Like, in theory, that'll be the big test for them, especially on the counter-attacks, right? Arsenal like to control games. United like to counter-attack. It's the perfect mixture. Ramsdale has to be stronger for the Villa goal. And fortunately for him, he's not the disgraceful goalkeeper of this game. That Emi Martinez deserves that title and we'll give it to him. But for the first goal, it's like a soft parry. Jesus finishes it off. It's comfortable. And for the next one, really good pick out from Saka, who's a little bit more involved in this game. Like I said before, it was sort of the Odegaard, Martinelli, Jesus show. A little bit more seen from Saka in this game, which is nice. Again, maybe that's just the way it's going to be. Some games he'll be on, some games he won't be on quite as often. It also depends on if his teammates pass to him more. That's a big part of it too. Lovely pick out for Martinelli, who, it's a good shot, but like, that's Martinez. It's poor. It's really poor. And for Villa fans, his performance has cost you the game and also kept you in it. It's so weird. Like, I'm worried about Gerrard now because, and my question for Arsenal fans to go back to it, are you going invincible? You'll love that. Answer away. And then, you don't have to, by the way. So there's no pressure, Arsenal fans. Enjoy the ride, but we're just having fun. For Villa fans, realistically here, how long has Gerrard got, right? When your only goal is a corner, it's not great play, is it, stylistically? It's worrying. And often it's just chaos back there for Villa at times. I don't know. You've played about 15 different teams in 5 games. I don't know what's going on now. Is it all Michael Beale? Is he the problem? How long has he got, Villa fans? How long? Bournemouth 0, Wolves 0. Okay, yeah. It's an incredible point for Bournemouth after Scott Parker was sacked for saying that he thought the team needed more help, and the board went, you agreed to this? No. And he went, yeah, bye. And then they closed the door and he's gone. So Bournemouth fans, sort of, it's a point, isn't it? It's a point. How you feeling? Are things all right? Are things going well? Do you feel suitably patronised? I know you beat Villa, but they're not good. For Wolves, though, I mean, you've got less points than Bournemouth. No, again, no disrespect Bournemouth, but it's gone poorly in the last few games. Yeah, big teams. I get it. Still yet to win and couldn't even beat Bournemouth. Like, they've made some additions late in the window. Whether they're going to be any good or not, we don't really know. There just seems to be... There's no that. The thing I'm looking to say there about Wolves, they're missing. Are you worried, Wolves fans? Is the simple question. How long? Oh, I'd be worried. I'll say it now. Don't look very threatening. That's the problem. It's just not very threatening. All right, Manchester City 6, Forest 0. I could pre-record the Manchester City 6 bit, to be honest. 3 shots on target, 3 goals. Erling Haaland he's barely involved until he is. And then when he is, it's devastating. 16 touches in 70 minutes. 3 of them are goals. He's not interested in link-up play. Julian Alvarez was, though, and he looked really bright in this game. So talk about him a little bit, Ben. 2 goals for him in the game, but actually just his general build-up play, and as I say, involved so much more than Erling Haaland ever would be. It'll be interesting. There'll be a game at some point this season when Haaland doesn't play and Alvarez plays that sort of striking position, and it'll be like they've got Aguero back potentially, or even Gabby Jesus in there looking to build things a little bit, and it'll look more like Manchester City, but this new dynamic they've got with Haaland is horrifying. City fans, would you rather have Kane? Never mind. It's not a dig at Tottenham or Harry Kane. It's just they're probably happy with Erling. Got 9 goals this season. 9. Forest, there's not really much you can say, is there, when you get beat 6-0. It's just sort of, well, at least we got a nice trip to the Etihad. And you're not the only team. You don't have the bravery or the confidence or the quality of Newcastle United, to give them some credit. No one really has yet. Forest, one thing to be said on Forest, and I'm going to keep an eye on this, they are the least effective pressing side in the division right now. They're quite happy to sit back and not look for moments to sort of press and probe. And interestingly, Tottenham are one up from them, and you know how Tottenham play. Forest obviously doing that with a completely new team and with less experience in the Premier League potentially. So can it work? We're sort of going to see it at 2 different levels. If they're going to play this way to sort of, again, spring and do things that way, then fair enough. But yeah, there's not quite enough. Question for Forest fans. I said I wasn't going to talk about transfers. I can't not mention them with you. If I quizzed you on all the players you've signed this summer, could you name them all? No, you couldn't. You liar. You liar. You could not. West Ham 1, Tottenham 0. It was a goal for Soucek, a goal for Kira. He's given him a penalty, and now he's scored an own goal. It's not been a great start for him. Scamacca was ill, so he couldn't play. It meant Antonio was back in the side, hits the post. He's just a more mobile striker, isn't he? He gets about a little bit more. It may be insulting to Scamacca, but there does seem to be that threat that he doesn't offer that Antonio still does. And it's a point to prove moment for Antonio. He knows there's been someone brought in to take his place, basically, and he's obviously going to have to try and perform. I say, hits the post. His assist for the Souček goal, lovely little flick around the corner, really, really nice. The cool finish from Souček as well, getting forward on the end of things. It's going to be one of those seasons for West Ham where, again, we're not going to know. Like, 5 games almost isn't enough for West Ham. They're 14th right now. They've got 4 points. That's the same as Forest and Bournemouth. So on the surface, it doesn't look great. But until they really figure out what's happening up top for them, and that sort of then tells them how they're going to play. Again, Antonio and Scamacca are not the same. It's nice to have the options, don't get me wrong. Who would you rather have, West Ham fans? Is it Antonio or is it Scamacca? Like, do you trust what you know? Or do you spend that amount of money and you want to see that guy be the guy? Again, stylistically, it's very much a personal choice. So West Ham fans, get in touch. Get in the comment section. For Tottenham, there's the 5-sub rule for Tottenham. And for the window they've had and sort of the impressiveness of that, and they've started the season well. They're unbeaten so far this year, so it's hard to be critical. They made 1 sub. Richarlison on for Kulusevski. That seems to be the go-to change at the moment, at least, for Antonio Conte. They had a penalty that was given and not given because it literally wasn't a penalty. You're allowed to head the ball. So that's legal. In case you aren't sure what heading is, I'm just demonstrating there. The goal, though, despite the fact it being an own goal, which is a bit unlucky again from the West Ham player, it's a really, such a Tottenham goal. That's what I'm expecting to see. Kulusevski, Kane, and Son would have scored it had it not been put in by a West Ham player. It's a really nice flowing move. It's kind of what they are about this year. I mentioned it in the last video. They're not going to lose very often, and they're going to be hard to beat. And this was just another one of those games. And if you can get that front 3 involved more, that's where the danger is. It's whether Tottenham are prepared to take more of those gambles earlier in games. It's Conte. They aren't going to do that. They're going to hang in them for as long as possible, and then make sure the quality is enough to try and nick them as they change gears. And that's going to be really cool to watch. Ultimately, what are you missing, Tottenham? And it's a bit of a loaded question. You might not be missing anything. So, but it does feel like in some games you're missing something. Again, you're only making 1 sub when you've got 5 to use in this Premier League season of all seasons. A game of half chances for both sides. Fans of both teams, get in the comments, let me know. Liverpool 2, Newcastle United 1. I'll get this out of the way. I don't like VAR either, Newcastle fans. And yes, there was quite a lot of time added on at the end, but some of your players were down for a little bit. Was it enough? Probably not. Have I seen more time given than usually allotted anyway? Is a minimum of 5 minutes? Yes. But if it's, I'll start with you. What it told me, Newcastle fans, is you are much closer to competing in the Premier League at a higher level than many people thought possible at this point in Eddie Howe's tenureship. And that in itself is super impressive. There's just so much to be excited about. They're looking up, right? That's all you can really ask if you're a Newcastle fan right now, that it's positive and you're moving forwards. The changes I thought were a little bit odd. It was almost like partway through the game, you were just happy to take the point against Liverpool, which is always going to be quite dangerous. Yeah, it just took me. Isaac went off, Chris Wood came on, and you kind of settled a little bit, and that's always going to be dangerous, right? Yeah, point at Anfield's really good, but when it doesn't quite work out, it looks a little bit silly. Again, hindsight's 2020, etc. But how are you rating Eddie Howe? Is it obviously a 10? Or are there things like that he occasionally gets wrong where you'd like to see him be a bit braver? In the same way that when you played City, there isn't much to lose against Liverpool at Anfield. Maybe they thought that was the best they were going to get in the game, despite the fact that, again, they look really good in it. And again, without Guimaraes, Longstaff's putting in some really good performances. Like, shout out to him. We can't not talk about Isaac or Isak or Ishak or Alexander. Yeah, he looks great. Great finish for him. Could have had 2. Again, the offside is marginal. Is he just leaning a little bit too much? Why can't we have camera angles that show it properly with a you know, like in the Olympic running and sprinting, they've got that camera. Just install one of those at every ground, for the love of God. Come on. I don't know whereabouts you put it, in line with the last defender. It's 2022. Build technology. Then we're not debating it anymore, are we? But yeah, he was fantastic. Again, just looks like the perfect player for them. It's good. It's a good addition. It's a lot of money, but who cares if he's going to be good? It's Newcastle. They've got the money. Whatever. Liverpool. I've wrote in my notes. I've written the phrase, "It's unconvincing dominance by Liverpool." That's exactly what it is, so I'm glad I wrote it down. Partly because of Newcastle's ability to disrupt what Liverpool are trying to do. And again, Newcastle have done that really well so far this year, so credit to them. But the flow of Liverpool, it's been said a few times, it's just not there right now. The midfield balance just seems odd to me. I don't like Henderson on the left and Elliott on the right. I just don't. I'd rather have it the other way around, but I get why. Fair enough, right? Newcastle's goal, defensively, I don't know. But I don't want to give it, I don't want to put it all on Van Dijk, but it's not good defending. Again, he's not having a great start to the season. What's going on around him is a mess as well. Pretty shambolic. It's a really nice finish from Bobby, though, if it's going to be said. And Carvalho, late on, it's a bit desperate, the finish, but at the same time, quality, like in that moment of the game. I thought the game was done as well. Like, it goes for the corner, I'm like, yeah, whatever, who cares? It hits Salah. The fact, right, as a fantasy football expert, the fact that Salah gets the assist for that, by the way, is a joke. But whatever, it just sort of hits him. Fine, he can have it. The question for Liverpool fans, and I think I know the answer from lots of them, is Arthur enough? Because I said, hey, what a wonderful time. Is it enough? They're 6th now, Liverpool. Doesn't seem fair, does it? Based on how it's gone so far. 15 goals scored. Shout out to Bournemouth. All right, and then finally we've got Leicester versus Manchester United to round us off. Right, okay, look. I might as well get a t-shirt saying I don't like Jamie Vardy. No shots in the game, Jamie. It's hopeless, mate. It's hopeless. Admittedly, Rodgers looks how I feel about Jimmy Vardy. Despondent at this point. It's sad. He comes out after the game and says his team need more. They need more help this summer. And there's about an hour and a half left of deadline day. Like, I kind of feel for him, really. No manager goes into any season expecting no additions, and that's sort of what Rodgers has been left with. And they lost a big dressing room character. We're maybe not making enough of it. Kasper Schmeichel leaving that Leicester team, the effect of that could be huge. Like, and again, we won't really know as people not inside that dressing room. But I think that's a huge factor for them, right? Again, the mentality of someone like Kasper Schmeichel not being there, the ripple effect is dangerous. Like, the World Cup can't come quick enough, can it? The talent in that team is there. Defensively, despite losing Fofana, they actually did pretty well against United in this game. But it's Harvey Barnes, it's Maddison, it's Vardy. Stop playing him. Like, it's fine. Bring him on like last 20 minutes to piss everyone off. Vardy needs to become Richarlison. There, I've said it. There needs to be more going on in offensive areas. And look, Maddison's a quality player, so is Harvey Barnes. And Vardy's had his moments still, and still will score goals this season. Don't get me wrong, it will happen. But it's just like in games like this where a little bit more quality in the final third, and they're in it. But right now, confidence is non-existent, and neither are they. Like, Leicester fans, where do you expect to finish at this point? Bottom of the league, no wins. Give me a number. That's what I want to know. I think I had you top half. No chance. For United, let's give someone credit who I haven't give credit to this season, really. Varane. Phenomenal. So good. 3 clearances, 1 interception, 2 tackles. Won all of his ground duels, 3 of those, and 3 of his 4 aerial duels as well. It's a top performance from a quality centre-back. I said last season they weren't getting the Varane that they thought they were getting, but this is the closest we've seen to the old Varane, let's call him. Yeah, he's had some troubles with injuries and things like that, and I think when he was signed, there was this idea he was going to revolutionise that defence. The makeup of that back four is obviously very different now, and it's a lot more comforting for him. Good. There are still some question marks over United, and United fans, stick with me on this. Is Martial the guy? Because it isn't Rashford up front, and I don't think it's Ronaldo either. I see United fans calling for Ronaldo to start against Arsenal. Don't do that. Don't do that. If Martial's fit, play him. If not, I guess you're sticking with Rashford. Alanga went missing for large parts, and they're not getting enough out of Jadon Sancho, despite the goal. Like, it's a really well-worked goal. Rashford, once again, is pretty good in space when given the ball. Just knocks it through to Sancho, rounds the keeper. Cool finish. The thing is, you're winning. So you can focus on the pretty stuff when you've done loads of winning. Then you can bring about the Ten Hag style. He deserves a lot of credit, actually, for basically going, okay, forget my ideas and philosophy. Let's just try and win football matches. Let's be pragmatic. And he's doing that. Again, do the pretty stuff when you can afford to. And right now they can't. They have to keep winning. Fair enough. Who will Casemiro replace? Is it going to be McTominay or is it going to be Eriksen? I'm not sure. So, United fans, let me know. Maybe it'll be game-to-game basis, right? I don't know. Comments, get in there. All right, then, that's my roundup of the week. A little bit shorter than last time, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Let's then go to the winners and losers of the week. We'll start with the losers. Always difficult, this. Again, get yours in there as well. If you're not a fan of any of these clubs and you frankly don't care, this is where you come in. The winners and losers of the week. The third loser of the week, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Just generally, no wins. It's not very good football. 2 goals in 5 games. And you've not even beaten Bournemouth. I mean, how can I not put you in there? You've not beaten Bournemouth. Second, speaking of Bournemouth, Scott Parker. We won't get to mention him again. He's gone. Tactically inept. Run his mouth. Get out. Not a fan, apparently. Is that coming across? And then the biggest loser of the week has to be Brendan Rodgers. Bottom of the league. Look, again, despondent. Looks really sad. He's our loser of the week. Sorry, Brendan. I get no joy in that either. Quite like to at Liverpool. No joy in that. Winners of the week. Third on this list is a bit weird. A bit weird, okay? Reece James. Chelsea miss him loads. And you realise it most when he's not there. He wasn't very well over the week, so didn't play, didn't travel to the Southampton game. Because he wasn't a part of that shambles, and because when he plays, they look significantly better at right wing back, he's a winner of the week. The value of his stock's risen, no doubt about it. Fabio Carvalho is not enjoying this because he's not on the list. Second, and a reappearance for this man, is Alexander Mitrovic. I'm in love with him. It's one of the best forward performances we'll see this season. And sure, it's against Brighton and no one will remember, but he's so good. Fair enough, Alexander Mitrovic. Well done you. A lot of Alexes in the league now. It's getting too many, if anything. And number 1, Erling Haaland. I want to be cool and give it to the Invincibles, but he's a freak. He's a freak. In the best way possible. He is the big winner of the week, and I could have put myself in there. Fantasy football's going tremendously. Should we update you? Of course we should. I am 4,444th. Come on, get in there. Out of 10 million. That's ridiculous. I'm flying. I'm 5th in my own league. 5th. Whoever Sam George is, he's motoring. Big week coming up as well. Injury problems. Big week coming up. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, do leave a like on it. Want to see some more, make sure you subscribe. We'll be covering all the weekend's action, as well as some transfer stuff as well. So we love with care. For until next time, I'll see you again soon. Well done, everyone. Well done us all. Take care.